Hello, students. We are going to talk about some important terms that are basically used that we have already covered up in RBI and its roles and responsibilities. They are the different financial instruments, we can say, which are basically taken care of, or they are used to control the inflation that are taken by this. So, in our last lecture, we covered up here about the different rules and regulations. We talked about this, where we have seen that yes, RBI basically it acts as the regulator of the financial system. The RBI they act as the regulator, like to control money supply, to monitor the different key indicators, GDP and inflation, to maintain the people's confidence in the banking and financial system. RBI plays a very important role. It also provides the different tools for the customers have, like customers grievances. If they are having any kind of grievance, they can approach the banking ombudsman. Banking ombudsman, we can say that he actually acts as a middleman in settling any kind of grievance that a customer can have from any bank. They can approach the ombudsman for settlement of the complaint, and there are different procedures that are usually followed by the customer. Rules and regulations are there that they need to be followed by the customer so that they can approach the ombudsman, and any kind of grievance can be settled easily and very quickly and cost effectively also. The second, we have seen that RBI acts as the issuer of monetary policy. So basically, the main objective is to control the inflation, to control bank credit, control interest. Here we have seen that for the implementation of this kind of objectives, which are stated above, various tools can be used. What are those tools? Cash reserve ratio, CRR, statutory liquidity ratio, SLR. Then other rates are also there: repo rate, reverse repo, bank rate, overnight rate. So the student should have a clear understanding about all these terms that usually come. We have also seen that RBI is the issuer of currency. It also acts as the controller and supervisor of the banking system. The bank can be in any category: public, private, or any cooperative banks as well. The different control and supervisory roles of RBI are done by the issue of license, prudential norms, corporate governance, KYC norms, transparency norms, etc. This we already have seen. Risk management, audit, and inspection, foreign exchange control, development, etc. Now, here we are going to have some important look at this different terms that were used, or tools or techniques that are basically used by RBI to control the inflation and the money supply in the economy. The first important term that comes is cash reserve ratio, CRR. We heard that CRR this year is this much, next year it changes. Now, why does it happen? Basically, what is this CRR? What is this cash reserve ratio is all about? The cash reserve ratio is basically, we can say that it is some proportion, or it is a percentage of cash that is required to be kept in reserve. That's why it is termed as cash reserve ratio, and it is regulated or mandated by RBI. So RBI it mandates that banks store a proportion of their deposits in the form of cash. Now, why is this? Because this, suppose in case of any need or emergency, if the bank is not having sufficient amount of cash with it, which can be given to its customers, or in any kind of illiquidity the bank is having, or the bank is in trouble, or any other like that, very risky condition, this cash is actually kept in the form of reserve, so that in such that emergency situations, that cash can be given to the bank's customer for fulfillment of immediate requirements or emergency requirements. So this percentage of cash which is required to be kept in reserves vis-a-vis a bank's total deposits. It should be a proportion of a bank's total deposit, and it is called cash reserve ratio. So this ratio is basically fixed by RBI, and every people have to follow this rule. The cash reserve, it is either stored in the bank's vault or it can be also sent to RBI. So depends on the bank itself that either it can be stored in the bank's vault or it can be sent to the RBI as well. Banks do not get any interest on that money that is with the RBI under CRR requirements. It is just kept as a cash. It is not a kind of investment. So basically, there is no question of getting any extra interest on this money which is kept as reserve. Now we'll have a look at the different effects of CRR. What can be the different effects of CRR? The lower the CRR, the high liquidity with the banks, which in turn goes into investment and lending and vice versa. What does it mean? The lower the CRR, so this is if the proportion of cash to be kept in reserve is lower, so what is happening? The bank don't have to maintain a higher proportion of that, so the bank are having much more money with them in hand, so more liquidity is there with them, which they can use for further investment or they can further lend those money. They are free from the reserve and that they can be further used. So in that case, we can say that the supply of money in the economy will be more and more because the bank are having much more liquidity in their hand, which can be pumped into the economy. So money supply will obviously go up in the economy. So this can increase the inflation as well. But on the other hand, it has some positive effect also on the economy because more and more money can be used for further investment, for more capital formation. More and more money can be lent for business purpose, for the growth of the corporate sectors. So this will ultimately result in the growth and development of economy of any country. So lowering the CRR, you can see that it is having a both positive and a negative impact also. So CRR should also be balanced. It should not be kept much lower, neither it should be kept much higher. Now, if the higher CRR, what is the impact of that higher CRR? Higher CRR, it can also negatively impact the economy. Why negatively impact the economy? Because you'll see that a higher portion of the cash deposit are being kept in the vault or they are unutilized. So idle cash, it is neither generating any extra income or the profitability of the bank is neither increasing through this idle money. And so what is happening is basically, you know, lesser availability of loanable funds. They are having less amount of fund in their hand to give loans to the corporate sectors. Lesser amount of fund is available for capital further capital formation. Lesser liquidity is there with the banks. So this will have a negative impact on the economy. But another thing is that positive side is it reduces the money supply in the economy also. So it can be used as a tool to control the inflation as well. So both this higher and the lower CRR can have both the positive impact and the negative impact as well. So negative impact is negatively impact the growth and development of an economy and slows down the investment process, the capital formation process. But on the other hand, it is also an effective tool to reduce or control the inflation in any country. Another important term is SLR. Now, what is this SLR? Statutory liquidity ratio. Apart from the CRR, we can see that the banks they have to maintain a stipulated proportion of their net demand and time liabilities also in the form of liquid assets like cash, gold, and unencumbered securities. Unencumbered securities means those securities that are not associated with any kind of loan. Securities they can be divided as two categories: unencumbered and encumbered. So unencumbered securities means they are not connected collaterally with any kind of loan. So this is basically the proportion of a liquid assets that need to be kept in, which consist of cash, gold, and these unencumbered securities. This is termed as SLR. The banks have to report to the RBI also that every alternate Friday that their SLR maintenance is proper. Otherwise, they have to pay penalties for not maintaining SLR also, which is mandated by RBI. The next important terms that we came across is the repo rate. Now let us have a look about repo rate. What is repo rate basically is? Repo rate, we can say it is the rate at which a country's central bank, like RBI in India, it lends money to the commercial banks during financial crisis. In other words, we can say that the commercial banks they borrow money from RBI by selling securities or bonds with an agreement to repurchase the security on a certain date at a predetermined price. So repo word basically it comes from the word repurchase, because there is some kind of repurchase agreement is there, and that is the repo rate. So this is actually the borrowing rate for which the commercial banks, in case of their financial crisis or any kind of emergency requirement, they can borrow the money from RBI. And they also by keeping their securities or bonds as collaterals as well, and they make an agreement that yes, those securities and bonds will be later on bought back by the commercial banks at a predetermined price. Now, rate of interest which is charged by the central bank on the cash borrowed by the commercial banks, this is basically the repo rate at which the repurchase will occur. For example, if we're saying that the repo rate is 10% and the loan amount bought by a borrowed loan amount borrowed by a commercial bank from RBI, it is rupees 10,000. Then the interest paid to the RBI it will be rupees 1,000. So this is basically what the commercial bank have to do is they have to pay 11,000 back for repurchasing those securities or bonds. So how this repo rate basically work is that whenever these commercial banks they are borrowing some amount like 10,000, suppose, because this is a very meager amount, we can say usually this amount is huge. Now, so this borrow amount or loan amount that is borrowed, if it is, for example, suppose in here we say that it is 10,000, that means they are basically selling their securities for 10,000 and they will repurchase their securities by paying 11,000. This is how this repo rate actually works. Now we will be talking about reverse repo. Why the name is reverse repo? Because it is usually the reverse of the repo rate when the process is taking place in the reverse direction. So on the contrary, we can see when a commercial bank they has excess funds, they can also deposit the same in the central bank. They are having excess money and they can deposit that money, that means invest their money into the central bank, and they can earn the reverse repo rate interest. RBI may also be in need of that. So for example, if the reverse repo is 10% and the funds deposited by the commercial bank to the RBI account is 10,000, So what will be the extra interest rate that will be paid by RBI to commercial bank? 10% of 10,000. That is 1,000. So whenever by applying the reverse repo rate, the commercial bank will ultimately earn 11,000 by depositing 10,000 in RBI. This is the working of the reverse repo. Now let us have a look at the another important term that is usually used is the bank rate. People get confused by this bank rate. This is the rate of interest that is charged by the RBI or the central bank on loans that they give to the commercial banks and other financial institutions. That is the bank rate. Now here, what is the difference? Difference is that no securities or bonds are used as collaterals, and there is no repurchasing agreement. It is similar to the repo rate only. Like the loan is given by RBI to the commercial bank and financial instruments as well. But the major difference is that in repo rate, a repurchasing agreement is used, whereas uh, whereas in this bank rate, no such collaterals are used. So obviously there is no repurchasing agreement. Banks they borrow the funds from the central bank and lends the money to their customers at a higher interest rate, thus making profit. So, as there are no securities or collaterals are used in this case, then what happens is bank rate is usually higher than the repo rate. Obviously, because repo rate there are some kind of securities are there, some kind of collaterals are there which are used. Whereas in bank rate, it is completely unsecured kind of loan that is given to the commercial bank. So the interest charged, that is the bank rate, is usually higher than the repo rate. And this is also an important tool to control liquidity. This is also an important tool to control liquidity. Yes, it can. So, my question to the students is how it can. So, we will address this question in our next session, but before on, we'll move and have a quick look at the different points or the differences that basically arise between bank rate and repo rate. What are those? See, bank rate, the first one and the most important is bank rate is charged against loans offered by the central bank to commercial banks, whereas repo rate is charged for repurchasing the securities sold by the commercial banks to the central bank. Secondly, no collateral is involved while charging bank rate, but securities, bonds, agreements, and collaterals are involved when repo rate is charged. Third point is very important, that is, repo rate is always lower than the bank rate. This is the third important point. The fourth one is increase in bank rate, it directly affects the lending rates offered to the customer. So if the bank rate is increased by RBI, obviously what is happening is commercial banks they borrow the money from RBI and then they further borrow the money from RBI and they lend this money to the customers. So obviously if the bank rate goes up, the commercial banks have to pay more interest rate to the RBI. So they will charge more and more money from its customers. So the lending rates offered to the customers will go up. So what is happening is this is restricting the people to avail the loans and damages to the overall economic growth. So all the people will not be able to avail this loan easily because the interest rate is more. RBI has increased the bank rate, so the banks are increasing their lending rates. So less and less loans will be taken from the banks. So this will pump less and less capital or fund into the economy. So the overall economic growth and development will get hampered. In this case, in this way also, you can say the By increasing the bank rate, the RBI can control the inflation, can control the liquidity in the banks as well. Whereas if we see that increase in repo rate, it is usually handled by the banks and it does not affect the customers directly. So increasing the repo rate, it basically what happens is that takes care by the bank itself, and it does not have any direct implication on the customers. The last one is very important. That is comparatively, we can say the bank rate that caters to long-term financial requirements of financial banks, commercial banks, financial institutions, whereas repo rate they focuses on short-term financial needs only. Now, overnight rate. What is this overnight rate is all about? Overnight rate. This is the interest which is charged when banks borrow funds among themselves. So one bank may borrow fund from another bank as well. So what is the rate of interest that is paid by one bank to another bank? That rate of interest is usually termed as overnight rate. So when bank rate is increased by RBI, banks borrowing cost increases, which in turn reduces the supply of money in the market as well. So this usually happens. All this have a very vicious circle on one rate upon the another, and they directly affect the inflation as well as economic growth and development of any country. So these different lectures are very important. Now, in our next lecture, obviously we're going to cover up this money market and this. So we took a pause in between these both lectures and we just have a look at on the different kinds of tools and techniques terms that are usually used. We came across when we go through the different roles and responsibilities of RBI. So I think it's clear to the audience right now. Now we are going to know about the different money market. What is the meaning of money market and the different instruments that are used. So thank you for now. We are stopping here. See you in the next lecture. Thank you.